Sorry, just reintroduce yourself first.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much to the leadership of Mayibuye. I go by the name of Allen Ledwaba. I'm a young entrepreneur from Pretoria, and I felt that it was quite important that I should come through and actually share what I have on the table. I'm a 30-year-old entrepreneur. I've never worked a day in my life because every time I was getting a job, I was chunked out. But at this point in time, I've done quite a lot of things. I've graduated under agriculture, farmer by profession. I went all out trying to look for land. I've approached all the banks to do commercial farming, but we know land is quite a serious issue in South Africa. We don't have the land. And Comrade Floyd Shivambu, I'm going back to you to say, let's continue sing and get our land back, which is the first point. Second point is that after one had failed in this business, is going up and down approaching banks, I realized that I need to take a little bit of money that I have and actually invest it into a money-making scheme that can actually grow me to get that 5 million and invest in the business. A lot went wrong. We've went through courts. We've approached every. You talk about the NPA, we were there. You talk about SAPS, we were there. And I'm giving you guys a glimpse of my life because I want you guys to understand that I had brushed a little bit with the law as a victim. And that's how I could see how corrupt SAPS is, how corrupt the NPA is, and how corrupt some of our courts can be. Let's also know that. Moving furthermore, I've went, after winning cases, went furthermore and went into the automotive industry. I'm sure some of you guys might know that in a farm, there's a workshop. So we do agricultural engineering. So if you speak about a vehicle, I know X, Y, and Z, the stuff I can fix there. So that's how I actually went into the automotive industry. We got contracts from SAPS. We've been fixing government vehicles. But we have resided into a property that is owned, or rather that is coordinated by a entity called Northwest Development Corporate, NWDC. It has been a pain in the neck because ever since we went into those properties, we've lost electricity, we've lost water, we've lost everything you can think of. The property at this point in time is not conducive. Just to take you guys a little bit back, you might know that Babelegi was employing over 50,000 people. That's 50,000 individuals. And we know one family is an average of 5 people. So that infrastructure of Babelegi was at least feeding 250,000 people over the past years when I was still growing up. But at this point in time, we are employing at least 500. Let's look at the gap. And moreover, there's a transition that should happen from the Northwest Corporate to Tshwane. And in that midst of the transition, I must say that there are individuals that were working for NWDC before. They are taking advantages of the properties. They are molesting tenants. They are trying to get as much money as possible from these people illegally. When the properties there are not conducive for business, we don't have electricity, we are losing our contracts. Because our landlord, he claims that he's our landlord, but he's not putting a platform for us as business people to practice in a proper way. So I also wanted you guys to look into that, but furthermore, just to not waste time, not only do I want the Mayibuye team to focus onto these issues that we're all gonna be outlaying, but I for one am putting myself to say that I also am willing to drive this ship into the right direction. Because a leader is a leader that creates other leaders and never followers. If you say you are a leader, but you only have followers, you are a celebrity. You are not a leader. You might as well open a TikTok account and do TikTok dances. For us here, I'm saying as a young person, I'm not going to send the leadership of Mayibuye alone. I'm putting my hand up and saying, let's move forward as a united black force and take what is ours. Let's take the land back. Let's take the factories back. Let's support the SMEs so that we can have a better future. Remember, not only government will create sufficient jobs for us, we also need private sector to compensate so that we can have a powerful GDP. Mandla.
Mayibuye
My name is Nick Mabunda. I run Vuyo's restaurant, Mo Vilakazi Street, running since 2018. So I just want to thank this opportunity to be here with this leadership here, Mayibuye. There are two things I just want to voice quickly so that we also give other a chance. Education and agriculture. Those are the two things that I would love for Mayibuye really to dig deep into that. Question for everyone. Since 1994 till today, regardless of the political parties that we have, how many black ministers did we have since 1994 till today? Regardless of the party. Who you can say he or she have run this institution for 5 to 10 years before becoming a minister or deputy minister. Since 1994, I don't know any. So that tells you we don't have institutional experience. We don't have experience to run institutions. Now you see the type of entrepreneurs we have, the type of grabs around and corruption, maybe partly is because we don't know how to run this thing. Imagine you don't know how to run an institution. Now you are in charge of so much money and you've got so much power. So that can only create chaos. So part of the chaos we see now is because we don't have proper people who can run proper institutions properly. So my issue now touches to what is Mayibuye going to do with the education system so that we create people who can run institutions. Because that's where one of our problems is. Number two, agriculture. I also wanted to have a farm like my young fellow. I'm 45 now. At least I'm 15 years your senior, but I'm still struggling. When I went to inquire about this place, I was given a price tag here, 7.5 million rand. I don't have that type of money. So now they will ask you, you need to, obviously, collateral, you need to have assets. In other words, you need to have the 7.5 million rand to get funding for 7.5. So the reason why you need funding is because you don't have the funds. But the way it's constructed right now, it's like you can't get into farming if you don't have the funds. So now, as a child, my issue to Mayibuye is, can we have a framework on the agricultural part to say, if let's assume we wake up tomorrow and the land is all in the hands of black people. Mayibuye is being the custodian of that right now. What are we going to do? To distribute the land to those that who need it. What's the framework are we going to have? Because it's one thing to say, let's get the land. We can get it, and then what? If we get the land and it doesn't work, then people will be saying, oh yeah, you went and took land, now you have become some Zimbabwe again. So we need to have a framework to say, if we take the land, what are we going to do? What is the plan? And a poor child like my brother, if he wants to farm, what must he do even if he doesn't have work? You see this place where we are right now. Imagine if this place has been running for 50 years and there's a manager who has been running this place, let's say for 20 years, and is a black person. Definitely that person doesn't have millions to start his coffee shop. But this person has been running this place for 20 years. From planning, to training, to budgeting, and looking after employees. That manager of this place, if he goes and say, I want to have a coffee shop somewhere in Casworld, and they'll say, okay, we want R1 million from you. Where is this manager going to get R1 million? Where is he going to get it? So now, I want Mayibuye to look at this, and I'm also volunteering for it. I also want to be part of this, big time, because I see the ceiling that's put on the black child. Whatever you do, if you don't have the means, don't have the money, you can't even start from somewhere. You need to breathe from a bag somewhere, and you are bottled. And that pushes most of our people into corruption and other things that are untoward. So those are the two things that I need really Mayibuye to look at, farming and the type of education that we have. It pains me to say, since 1994, I don't know any minister, correct me if I'm wrong and educate me. I don't know anyone. You can say this black minister before becoming a minister of communications, he ran Vodacom MTN for 5-10 years. And it was successful under him. This guy it's a minister or deputy minister of finance. Oh yeah, he ran FNB for 10, 20 years. He understands finance. No one for 30 years. That's a shame on all of us. So I would love Mayibuye to check on this so that we find a way of how do we harness our power as black people. It's one thing to say, let's go and take this and take this, but what are we going to do after it? Thank you.
My name is Amos Biza. Let me take this time to greet and to salute the national convener, Mr. Shivambu, the royals, the professionals, and the entrepreneurs that are here. The question is, do we need another political party? I think that's a question that has been in many people's thoughts. And I would say yes. I'm a pastor, and I'm a businessman. I play in the medical device space. I get to speak with a lot of people, not only here, but around the world. Why do we need a political party? Oh, why do we need another political party? Oh, okay, sorry. Why do we need another political party? I think we need one because the ones that we currently have are not listening to the people. I interact with the youth across the nation, and I've seen youth entrepreneurs that their voices are not listened to. I run an organization called Economic Leadership Congress, and as I engage with the young people, you can see the frustration, lack of funding. I don't know if government is doing enough. We can tell you we're entrepreneurs ourselves. But I think there's despondence, frustration, a lack of hope in many young people. So, as you heard, my colleague over here, he has struggled to really break through, even though I believe he has done so by himself, probably with the help of few people that really listen to his vision. If we continue like this, then our country, our nation is not going anywhere. So I think the collective here, the leadership, I would say yes to a political party that will listen to the voice of the youth, that will inspire young people to do business, to create wealth for themselves, their children. I can't even talk about the Nyaupes, whatever how we refer to them, but it's not supposed to be like that. I think a narrative can be changed in that area. Number two, I feel really, this is also close to my heart, it will be the issue of race. I get to be in different nations around the world as a speaker, as a strategist as well. When I look back to our country, I realize that our brand is not the way it should be. You go to UAE, when they see us, they laugh at us. You go to India, America, everywhere. It seems as if our politics are politics of, I don't know, maybe of the stomach, that we just focus on fighting each other in terms of race. Can there be a political party that goes beyond race? I know we're black people, but I think we need to go beyond just the race into building a nation, just one nation. I think there's a way we can engage to make sure that whatever happened in the past can be readdressed. But I think we need wisdom beyond just the way we've been running politics. Number two, or rather three, it will be tribalism. This tribalism is still huge in this country. Mr. Shivambu, how can we really go beyond tribalism and tribalistic ideologies and mindset? You go to Dubai, you find 2.5 million people. 10% are Emiratis. the owners of the land. Just 10%. And the rest are experts coming from all over the world. Look at what they've built. Here we got so much. We can do a whole lot. You know? But I have to tell you, I'm Zulu, I'm Tsonga, I am that. I don't know. Maybe it was my pastor by calling. But I think we need to go beyond this tribalistic working together because we're that and that and that. I think we should go beyond that. The last thing will be, sorry for taking your time. I don't know what will be your view. How do we look at that going forward? But there's a need for a new political party. The last will be religion. Where I'm in UAE, or I'm in Hong Kong, or America anyway, they're not centered around this is a Muslim, this is a Christian. I'm a Christian man. But I work with friends that I work with all over the world who are Hindus, who are Muslims, who are Jewish and all that. Can we really go beyond, we'll do the evangelism separately in our own corners. Instead of saying, okay, I'm a Christian, therefore I can't work with you, you're a Muslim. Or that. I think we have not gone beyond that. So yes to a political party, but is this the platform? Is Mayibuye the right political party that can take all of us forward? And that's my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Can I get one of the ladies? I'm going to come back to you, my brother. I'm not unfair like that. Thank you.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. Evening, everyone. Evening, leadership of the Mayibuye consultation process. My name is Unati Taimani. I am a professional in the accounting auditing space. I specialize in forensics, anti-corruption, fraud, those kind of fun things. My first comment is to thank the Mayibuye consultation process, because in my profession, we do not associate with politicians. We are apolitical, we are neutral. So this is a platform for some of us, especially those who are in the anti-corruption and anti-fraud space, to be heard. As a professional, number one, let's look at professionalization of the public service, particularly in the local government space. Number two, being a professional comes with having certain codes of conduct, certain behavior that is expected from you. And you know that if you're a doctor and you become unethical, we will take away your accreditation, or if you're an accountant and so forth. So as we go forward as professionals into our different professions, thank you for considering our inputs. And I will be also giving my inputs via email as to how we can strengthen our anti-corruption fight. I always say in South Africa, we don't have a revenue problem, we have an expenditure problem. We have a lot of leakages, especially as a public financial specialist myself. I see a lot of this. I've investigated a lot of cases where politicians are involved, in 90% of them, in collusion with professionals and entrepreneurs. So my last bit is to say thank you to the leadership for consulting with us, because we do not have a voice when it comes to politicians. We do not attend political rallies or meetings, but this we can attend and give input. So that will be my 2 cents. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening. I'm Busi Selesho. I'm from the School of Entrepreneurship for Women. And one of the things that we have been struggling with is finding women that are capable of receiving funding. We've been able to work very hard and get a good funding, private funding, but we do not have women that are capable of running businesses that can be able to receive those funds. So this is a process that probably can open doors for a lot of ladies that have ideas but do not have funding. But of course, there is a whole lot of work that has to be done to make them be able to be in a position to receive that. So thank you so much. I'll also love to send an email and share some thoughts around these ideas. Thank you.
In South Africa. And I think I've got a far much more better analysis and assessment of what primarily could have led to some of those formations. And I will use that to then draw a very clear distinction between those political parties and the process that we're engaged in now. So after the ANC's 52nd National Congress or Conference in Polokwane in 2007, then of course President Mbeki was not re-elected as the president of the ANC, despite that he was available for third term. And then President Zuma was elected at that time. And then in September of 2008, there was a decision of the ANC to recall President Mbeki as a president and head of state. And those who associated and supported President Mbeki went to found the Congress of the People as an organization. And with his full support, he was part of the planning on the formation of the Congress of the People. And the primary reason for that was that they lost conference and he was recalled as a head of state and president of South Africa. I know this because at that time, I was in the National Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League, and I was full-time in the head office of the ANC as a national spokesperson, head of policy research, and we had to conceptualize and try to characterize what COPE was that time. But primarily was the anger which that comrade is speaking about, which those who supported President Mbeki were expressing against the ANC that was led by President Zuma. That is why COPE did not become a durable program. That is one. Two, the formation of the economic freedom fighters came from different streams. There are those of us who believed that we should take up the struggle for economic freedom in our lifetime outside of the ANC and fight it as a genuine, legitimate struggle. But amongst us, those who said that we must go and constitute the struggle for economic freedom outside of the ANC as a separate organization, there were those who wanted to use that platform as an expression of anger against President Zuma, who was the president of the ANC, elected in 2007 and re-elected in 2012 in Bloemfontein. And how do you notice that? Is that against our advice perpetually, like those who work with us will tell you this, that against our advice perpetually, the guidance that the EFF will have from its president or leader will be, let's disrupt Zuma by all means possible, even if on some issues you can potentially agree. That we are just fighting Zuma to the bitter end. It doesn't matter what he says. Zuma comes to parliament, he says that let us try to mobilize 2/3 majority to change the constitution. No, we don't want anything to Zuma or to do with Zuma. To the extent that the EFF even fought side by side with the white capitalist establishment to remove President Zuma. Like associated openly with the establishment, because amongst those who were in the EFF leadership, there were those who were saying, no, we are going to disrupt Zuma, we don't want to listen to him on anything, even on areas where there potentially could have been some consensus and agreement. On issues that were going to resolve the crisis and problems of the people of South Africa. And comrades, you'll say, obviously people will say, no, but you were there. Yes, you were there. But there are so many decrees that got to be over-dominant in terms of the direction of the organization. That is part of the reasons why we had to disassociate from such nonsensical approach to politics, where it's, I'm fighting this person to the bitter end. You must listen to some of the things that will be said that, no, we're just fighting. Even where there is potential for agreement on some of the policy questions, and you just throw the wedge wider and wider every day. The third other aspect which we should make honest reflection about as well is that whilst Mkhonto weSizwe could be presented as a formation which should unite all progressive forces, the other underlying aspect which defines some of the people there is to fight the current ANC personalities and leadership because of the fact that President Zuma was recalled as a head of state and president. To the extent that both the EFF and the MK, for narrow purposes, just allowed for a creation of a white government, whilst there could have been some basis which could have united the political parties whose umbilical cords are buried in the same yard, who are united behind the Freedom Charter, have got some degree of a common program, but they say no. If it's Ramaphosa is there, no ways. Personalities. I can assure you now that I'm personally not agitated myself by MK or EFF, and that we could form a political party just because of those two aspects. The reality is that objectively, majority of the people of South Africa have got no faith in this democratic project and the election process. They've given up completely, and they demonstrate that much more vividly. The number of people in South Africa who are above the age of 18 years and above, who are eligible to vote, is 41, 42 million people. In 2024 elections, there was 17 point something million people who voted. So that is less than 50% of those who are eligible to vote. In 1994, there were 40 million people in South Africa, but 19 million people voted because they believe that this democracy is going to bring up something. So currently, majority of adults in South Africa say these things, we've got no faith in it. We just rather, they'll let them do whatever they want to do. So we do not have legitimately elected governments because majority of the people have not participated in establishing the current governments. Already the people are speaking as to these things. So what that means is that majority of eligible voters in South Africa have got no faith in all the political parties combined. They've declared a vote of no confidence in all of them combined. This process that we are engaged in now, it's not about trying to prove a point to anyone. It's not about trying to act bigger and much cleverer than any other person. It's to say, let us constitute a platform which will involve all the people of South Africa. I was saying earlier on to the leadership that we must not run into the temptation of cultifying Africa Mayibuye. Now, comrades, we're going to form a political movement which will contest elections if all of us agree we should do so. And it will be called the Africa Mayibuye movement, which is going to contest elections. And the values and principles of that party will be shaped by the people of South Africa. We're not tiptoeing around, we're not confused like. But we do not want to form a political movement which we just sit in a round table and we think we're intellectuals and ideologues and conceptualize without touching base with the people. There are so many useful things and inputs which we get to even listen to here today. A lot of fresh ideas that are coming up as to what do we do and how do we do things differently. So the comrade who's a forensic auditor, like he points to the direct relationship between tenders and political killings and corruption. We advocated for building state capacity in a different organization. But when that organization went into political power, had the power to could stop tenders and build state capacity, was number one in the line to receive tenders. And we realize that and those are some of the things that we have to look into. In the process of consultation, we have said and we will always say that we are not going blank or empty. There are certain principles and values that will guide us. Also, we can assure you that part of those principles will be the respect and full recognition of royal leadership in South Africa, because it is not recognized as per the 1996 Constitution of South Africa. It is just noted. So the royal leadership is just noted that, yes, this traditional leadership, but in the legal framework of South Africa, it does not have any defined rules. And we will have to look into that differently. The other principle, comrade, I forgot the name you said, from the new organization that is in public service, the union. The other principle and value is that we are going to be on the side of the working class and workers. And that is, and the poor. So we are on the side. So in the class divide between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, we are on the side of the proletariat, if we were to speak in that language. That aspect, we can't form an organization to be a committee that manages the common affairs of those who are the ruling class. We are not going to do that. We are going to fight on the side of the people to represent that is the posture that we will take. And the other important aspect as well, as black people, as Africans, I think an interesting term which is used by the comrade who spoke with the training from Germany and other countries, who said it's going to begin faster now, is the issue of economic activism amongst black people. That there's a simple fact that as black people, the amount of money which we receive as wages, as social grants from government, from the private sector, from entrepreneurial projects, is more than 1.5 trillion every 12 months. But 80-90% of that money we give back to white people and to other people of other origins. We don't spend money amongst ourselves. I can tell you now that even if we were to circulate 30-40% of the income that we earn amongst ourselves and empower ourselves, the levels of black poverty in South Africa was not going to be at the levels that is at now. The levels of unemployment amongst black people was not going to be at the rate that is at now. But we get all our resources, it's Pick and Pay, it's Boxer, it's ShopRite, it's Spar. And the informal trading sector of Pakistanis take about 200 billion of that out to their home countries. We don't get to support each other. We have to lead a process as Africa Mayibuye of black economic solidarity, where black South Africans support each other with everything, so that we then lead ourselves to collective economic upliftment that is going to change our lives much more collectively. I'm particularly impressed, like deeply touched by the inputs that we have here. And I would think, and I will recommend that to those who are going to be drafting the Constitution, it must be compulsory for Mayibuye leadership structures at all levels to have sectoral engagements with the people at least twice per year, biannually. It must not just be an issue for the formation of the party, and after that, we say we don't want to hear from the sector anymore. Or only when there is elections. It must be compulsory that from time to time, we should be guided by the aspirations and the interest of the people in all sectors, religious sector, and different processes. Now, just to give an update, the other leaders are still going to come and respond. But the manner in which we have planned the consultation process, we are going to be consulting this weekend in Limpopo on Saturday and Sunday, and then on Tuesday we're in the Free State, and then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we're in the Eastern Cape, and then the other Tuesday we're in Mpumalanga in Kwandebele, and then we go to Bushbuck Ridge, and then go to Nkomazi and Bombela. And in all those consultations, we'll be meeting with traditional leadership and also with members of the community, with church leaders, to receive input. And those inputs that we're going to be receiving will shape the nature and character of the organization. So this consultation process will culminate in a national convention, Mayibuye National Convention, which is going to now adopt officially the founding documents and founding principles and founding constitution and policy frameworks as to what are the policy statements of Mayibuye, and also a program of action to prepare for the upcoming elections, which must be contested with the aim of winning. And in the process of consultation, we will be identifying potential leaders for regional and sub-regional levels, to the extent that by the time we announce that we have agreed on a political party, these are the values, but this is who will be leading the party in all the 257 municipalities of South Africa and all the 54 regions and all the 9 provinces. We already have got provincial leadership that has been identified. But we can't announce a party before we get the input of all the people of South Africa. There has to be, you can think that you know everything, but you realize that every day and every time you listen to the inputs of the people, you get to learn something new every day. And we really appreciate the inputs that we got. And the good thing is that this process was being recorded as well. So when we're driving for long distances, we'll listen from our radios, put on the earphones, and want to refine some of the inputs, the very useful inputs that we got to receive from everyone. The other important aspect to highlight before the other leaders come is the process which our sister said that we should do in other professions what Mayibuye Medics has already begun. So we've got doctors Chauke and Biela who came brilliantly with Mayibuye Medics. It used to be called something else before. But It's Mayibuye Medics, voluntary work, and it must be graduated into, it must be graduated from screening to many other functions as well. Provide healthcare into our communities, but also identify what are the things that we can do. Small-scale irrigation schemes to teach our people agriculture. The comrades that spoke first here, they said, we must focus on agriculture. We must begin to institute and support irrigation schemes which will help, and guarantee markets as well for the cash crops that will be produced out of that. And in some instances, if there's a water crisis in some of the villages, we can't use 100,000 rand to organize a protest march for water in a village. We're going to take that 100,000 and hire a borehole drilling machine and drill a borehole. And even if we put one pipe of water in that village, at least there have been change of the lives of our people. To constitute a party that is just a complaining and talking instrument. It will be compulsory in the whole movement that there must be social assistance programs that are conducted and done on a daily basis on all sectors. Skills empowerment, business symposiums, networking sessions, even our platforms. The website of Africa Mayibuye must have a directory of where do you get quality black business opportunities, but also services. If you are looking for a lawyer, the lawyers must enlist there. If you are looking for a black accountant, you must enlist there. If you are looking for a proper accommodation services like Mulu, you found it there. Begin to support each other and not just be complainants every day. We must come with practical solutions that are going to improve the lives of our people. From my side, I'm truly humbled and determination much more revived now that, be rest assured that it's not a tantrum. This process is not a tantrum to try to fight against anyone. It's a genuine process which we actually have said that we must make it impossible, even in the registration of the party, for anyone to feel like they own that party. Not even myself. It must not be possible. It must be democratized foundationally so that all of us are held accountable, we are able to be held accountable to a process. If there are commitments that we make, we must be held accountable to those commitments. We must never and we will never create a cult in terms of what needs to be done. South Africa can't afford to have another cult. Let's have a movement that is going to be a true movement of the people to drive the long overdue and unfulfilled promise of true freedom and emancipation.